So this is a cold one with Corey and Carlisle. And if you don't know already, this is simply a free-form conversation recording session where Carlisle and I, we sit down, we have a six-pack of beer, and we talk about things that happened the previous week before. Now, these are more like audio podcasts, which means that they're longer than our video reviews, and they're also unedited. So if you're offended by the foul language, you might not want to listen. But if you aren't, then sit back, hang out with us, and we hope you enjoy. Thanks.
It's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle.
This was a guy who said
we need theme music.
But see, at first you said you didn't want theme music.
But we need like the da 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 da. You know, just a key.
That sounds like you're running from the police with that music. That don't sound like anything to start a show with.
I'm just saying. You know that little news thing they have, like on news things, where it's a theme, but it's not a full-on theme.
There was a guy online who said he was actually going to make a theme for us. Now, I didn't say we were going to use it, but he actually looked at that beer jingle I was talking about, which I should play it for you sometime. It's very catchy, and I thought it would work good for this. The music you were just doing, that's the kind of music I'd jump a fence to or something. So, how you doing?
Not too bad. It's been kind of a rough week, but I'm making it.
Kind of rough, huh?
It's been rough.
And what is that, like a good rough, like you've been working hard? Is that like a rough, like you got
like it's rough, like just shit keeps happening and I keep dealing with it.
Damn, you make it sound like you went to prison and got raped or something.
That would be life was tough, motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
It was a rough week.
Oh, it's not a life is tough, motherfucker. It's just like
it's one of
times
those,
is hard.
What? I'm happy to kick back with a couple of brews and shoot the shit with a buddy kind of week.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what you're doing right now.
Wow, that's awesome. And truly, your power is great and mighty. That's
what I'm here for, man. Hey, you brought the good stuff this week.
I did. You seemed to like this last time you brought it, and I was like, you know what? I'll grab this.
No, I told you before you came here. I was like,
Especial.
The Modelo Especial. I said I wouldn't even drink this week, but you brought this over, and I'd be damned if you just caught my weak spot here with this. So, but
good stuff.
Oh man, it's a good week in movies.
It's an interesting week. I'll say that. And in fact, we're hitting a weird dead zone. It's this week is going to suck for the guys who write news blogs and such, because Hollywood shuts down this week and does nothing.
I know. This is the Will Smith holiday.
The Will Smith holiday.
4th of July means Will Smith.
Name it that. You know, it was so long ago that we that we won our independence. It's like, who the fuck cares anymore?
Yeah.
It's just become a day when we eat hot dogs and blow shit up. Let us celebrate Will Smith and his awesomeness by eating hot dogs and watching Will Smith blow shit up.
You're exactly right about that. Kids today don't even know who George Washington is, Thomas Jefferson. They can't name the date the Declaration of Independence was signed. They don't know all that shit.
Fuck the 4th of July. I want to talk about the 2nd of July, the day that a Will Smith movie always opens. That's
exactly
what I want to fucking talk about.
There you go. A bunch of people running around with Will Smith mask on and stuff. So, well, this week we have an interesting top 5. Not too interesting, but it's good. I think things that are in there deserve what they got.
We've got some very interesting stuff in the top 5.
Okay, so we'll start out with number 5.
Number 5.
The Hulk.
Incredible Hulk, still in there.
Yes, hanging on.
Awesome. If you haven't seen it, you still suck.
Got $9 million, $9,226,000 to be. In fact, his gross is right now it's $115,000.
$115 million.
I mean, I'm sorry. I want this movie to do terrible. No, I like the Hulk a lot. It's funny though, because it is right on par right now with what the last movie made. So even though they wanted to do better,
you know what? I think I'm starting to think there's going to be one that takes off on DVD. I know the fans are digging on it. It didn't catch the mainstream.
No, I mean, that's too bad. I mean, it's not a bad movie. Even for my criticisms, I gave it a matinee, but I thought, great summer movie. I thought it would have done, it's doing what I thought it would do, but just a little bit less. I thought it was going to do just a little bit better. So I'm sad to see that happen. But anyway, it's a fun movie. Are they going to make a sequel to this, do you think? A sequel to the Hulk? I'm not talking about the Avengers.
That I don't know. I mean, it really I don't think they're going to fast track one, but I think once they do an Avengers movie, they may, in fact, go, okay, it's time to do another Hulk movie.
Damn, we're going to be probably 75 years old by the time they do this Hulk sequel. Anyway, let's move up to Kung Fu Panda.
Number 4.
Still in there at number 4.
3 weeks ago, I said we'd still be talking about this movie, and here we are still talking about it.
And it's out at $180 million pretty much right now.
It's doing so well, and it is proving that if you make smart animated films that don't play to the adults with just the occasional adult joke, but actually make a film that works for both adults and kids, you're gonna make bank. And I've heard this from so many people. The adults are loving it more than the kids are. That the kids like it, but the adults love it. And when the kids say, "Hey, can we see Kung Fu Panda?" Oh, of course, we'll take you to see Kung Fu Panda again.
Damn, I haven't seen it yet, but
every week you say that, and every week you say the same thing. Go and fucking see it, dude. It is my favorite movie of the summer.
I'm waiting for my panda costume to come in so I can go there and pick up some girl who really loves pandas at that movie. Since you say the adults love it so much.
Well, yeah, but mostly adult men. I mean, if you want to go home with a furry that is into the film and wants to fuck Panda afterwards, that's the way to go, Corey.
I don't want to pick up a guy, but I think that Panda suit would do that.
What the deal was with you? You're a furry. That makes so much sense.
I am not a furry, man.
You are a furry.
People, and let me tell you something. What's scary about this? I was researching fairies and furries before this whole furry thing got to be a big deal, and it scared the shit out of me back then because right now it's kind of, I won't say it's mainstream, but in people who don't know who furries are,
mainstream.
No, it ain't. No, I ain't. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say it's mainstream.
For those of you that don't know what a furry is, listen to Uncle Corey.
Well, I'm not even sure if I know what it is exactly. I just know that it's people who are into the anthropomorphic animals.
No, there's two types of furries. There's that. There's the people who are into anthropomorphic animals. The people who are into the drawings and into the anime. I'm referring to the type of furries that actually...
The sexual furries?
No. Now, some are, but no. There are people, the original furries, the second furries, the type that teenage girls go, "Oh, I'm a furry." No, that's the latter type.
What's the second furry then?
It is people who really enjoy being in animal costumes.
Well,
people who like wearing chipmunk costumes or panda costumes or woodchuck costumes, whatever. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them enjoy having sex in the costume.
That's the third part I was going to say. Because when I researched this, it was hardcore. I'm talking about before people who knew what furries were. You had to like go and be initiated. I mean, they had like the Masons of the furry group. You had to just be really into it. In fact, you had to want to be an animal to get in there. Let's just say that there's some people who are so hardcore furry that if they had the surgical technique to graft a tail and some pointy fuzzy ears on you, people would do it.
But the thing that's just so creepy is that they have conventions, and that's cool. You know, whatever you want to do. I don't care what kind of convention you want to have. As long as you go off with your own kind, have a good time. Awesome. But they have these conventions, and all the guys dress up, and women, they dress up in their suits, and they have a nice little parade, and they have a parade in front of the kids. And these people are going to go home and fuck each other in these outfits. These outfits, if you took one of those CSI black lights over these suits,
it'd be some of the dirtiest
crap out of you.
No, a friend of mine, I'll go with her. I'll go by her. She was in a band, and she was kind of a furry. She brought me a tape, and she wasn't as deep into it, but her name is Peggy Suicide. She's in a band. I'm saying no more than that. She's not this deep, but she's like, you want to see some crazy furry shit? Look at this. And she brought me a tape where exactly what you said. They had a costume contest where they had a guy play music and nothing but adults. I mean, it was like let's imagine a whole room of people in Chuck E. Cheese costumes.
Yeah.
And they played music while these grown ass people paraded around and did their little act and their little
dance.
And it was so sad because there was a little kid there. This little kid had parents who were furries, and this little kid looked like, God damn, this is horrifying. I mean, a little kid, he's like, I do not want to be here. I'm so sad that my parents is a fucking rat, and my father's a rat, and my mom is a fucking rabbit. This is disturbing to me.
You know how this really went. That was a poor ass family, and that kid was just told by mom and dad, "Oh, we're going to take you to Disneyland tomorrow." Kids in this room with all these fucking perverts doing their little dance to the music. That's not Mickey Mouse. This fucking sucks.
Yeah, I thought we were going to Chuck E. Cheese. Where's the pizza? Shut up. God damn it, eat that sandwich and be quiet. But anyway, I'm sorry, we got off track, everybody. Let's move.
Way off track. Back to Kung Fu Panda, the wonderful family film brought
Kung
to
Fu
us
Panda,
by the good people at DreamWorks.
$11 million, made close to $180 million overall. Great movie, I hear. I'm dying to see it. Let's move on to number
3.
Number 3, Get Smart.
Get Smart.
I saw the
Still doing
the
well.
DVD for the spinoff you were talking about
Yeah,
on
no,
TV.
it comes out here next week or something, and I should be getting that in. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
See, it actually looks more fun to me than the movie.
Now, I
ain't
saw
gonna lie.
somebody, thank God, somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody on my list showed a Reels interview with it. And it turns out it's the same writers who wrote the script. They wrote a second script for this adventure.
And let me before you go any further, explain to people what the spinoff is. It's two
what
characters
the spinoff
from this.
it's Harold and Lloyd,
The two tech guys,
the two tech guys who are in Get Smart, and they are. It is what happens to them when the big bad shit goes down during the middle of Get Smart. There's a big attack on Control, and this is what happens to them when they're stuck there in the attack. And it's got cameos and walk-ons by all the major characters in the film, as well as several of the minor characters who we saw in Get Smart actually play major characters. And these two movies go hand in hand. And it's supposedly written by the same writing team, which I think did an excellent job on Get Smart. So I'm really now looking forward to seeing how they did this.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting experiment.
I wasn't crazy about Get Smart, as you know, but the movie's doing well. $77 million overall. Took $20 million in this weekend. I like Steve Carell. I'm happy for the guy. I think he's one of the more, I would say, well-established, down-to-earth people in Hollywood, from what I hear.
And he needed this so bad because of what happened to him last summer.
What did happen last summer? Oh,
Evan
Evan
Almighty.
Almighty. Yeah, that was terrible too.
It was
man.
terrible, and it was so terrible that, first of all, it was so terrible, Cyrus refused to review it because he did not want to think about this film. That's how bad it was. Secondly, it's so bad that they did a really interesting story on this. A reporter went to a number of Blockbusters in his area to ask all the clerks on duty what the best film on the wall was and what the worst film on the wall was, what everybody was saying back. And the best films ranged around depending on which store you went to, but every store you went to, every clerk said, yeah, everybody's pissed off about Evan Almighty.
Oh, yeah, no. Evan Almighty was one of the worst reviewed movies last year, too. It was funny because Cyrus is, I don't want to bring his personal business out there, but he's an atheist, and he was mad about the movie.
Now don't say that, because if he hears that, he's going to be pissed, because he claims he's an agnostic.
He's not. He's an atheist. The guy
he is actually a born-again secular humanist.
What the fuck? What? Why is he making it that complicated?
If you know anything about philosophy or religion, you know what that
And
means.
I'm not even, look, I'm an atheist also, but I didn't get mad about Evan Almighty. I just said, so what, it's a movie about God. I don't care if people like it or not. I mean, but it's a shitty movie. So, I mean, come on, man, come say it's a shitty movie with me. No, I'm not going to see this. No. And I was like, Jesus Christ,
He
okay.
saw it. He said he wasn't going to talk about
That's
it.
right. He's like, no, I am not going to promote this movie by talking about it. I'm not going to even be a part of it. And I was like, Jesus Christ. All right, man. Okay. So,
We don't believe in him either.
yeah, exactly. Damn, I just blew up the mic right there. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, no. But anyway, I don't want to pause this, but keep on talking about something. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to get the
You
ice
forgot
pack.
to get the ice pack. So, no, but this whole Get Smart thing, I'm really excited about this video now. At first I was really, really skeptical, but I'm really thinking that this has a shot. Because usually when they do stuff like this, they get different writers, different director, different, all sorts of different things. Hold up. Was that a bottle of Jaeger?
No.
What was that a bottle of?
That's a bottle of cold medicine I put in there.
That looks like a bottle of Jaeger. That's Jaeger, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was Jaeger from the freezer. You're trying to cover. No, it's cold medicine. Yeah, that's Daddy's cold medicine, kids.
It's my cold medicine.
Daddy's got cold.
It
Daddy needs
helps me.
medicine.
I forgot to put the ice pack in there. All I have was a bottle of Jaeger.
You're cool. Let me give this image to you, kids. Uncle Corey is worried about his Macintosh overheating. So he put a frozen bottle of Jägermeister underneath his computer.
Look, man, it was either that or Swanson's Hungry Man TV dinner. So, and I'm going to eat that in a little while. As a matter of fact, I guess I could put it under here and it'll be done by the time we're finished and I'll be ready to eat. So, but yeah, that Jaeger, man, that always keeps. So it's good for more than one thing, apparently. Helps me out and helps my Mac out. Yeah. So let's move on to number 2.
Number 2
is Wanted. Did very well, man. 51 million.
Jolie's first big hit in a while.
This did better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Speaking of what she needed, she's one of those people who really needed this because it's one of those things. And she is the woman who broke the mold. For the longest time, it was argued that you had 3 bad movies in a row. You lost your seat at the table. That you were no longer considered a player once you've done 3 bad movies. She broke that. She went 5 terrible movies in a row.
No, what were the 5? Because last year she did that movie about the guy that got his head cut off.
Mighty Wind.
A Mighty, yeah.
Was that what it was called?
A Mighty Heart.
A Mighty Heart.
Something like that.
A mighty lame movie is what it was.
I didn't think it was lame.
It was very mediocre.
I thought it was mediocre. I thought she was great in the movie.
Oh,
so
no,
she
no,
got critical praise.
Fantastic.
See, if you
But
get critical
she's been
praise,
fantastic in
it'll
a
bring
lot
you
of
over a little
movies.
bit.
I mean, you look at the Tomb Raider movies, and she jiggles real good, but those movies were shit.
Oh, Tomb Raider movies are terrible, man. I don't care what you boys out there say. I know there's some kids out there going to be like, I like that movie. No, you like looking at her titties and ass. That's what
7 years old.
Yeah, and you
that
like touching yourself to Tomb Raider.
Softcore porn back then.
Yeah, don't get you like Angelina Jolie's ass. You don't like that movie.
She did, God, and I'm trying to think because I just looked this up the other day, but she did 5 in a row between what anyone would call good movies, and I was being lenient. And her first good movie out of that whole.
You can't remember the other movies at all?
I'm blanking right now because she just did so many crappy movies at the time.
I just know she got by with critical praise on A Mighty Heart. I think that's the name of the movie. I can't remember, but anyway, for a summer movie, it gave people what they were looking for.
It was fun. And even you just put up the review. I got to see how that came out. I haven't seen it yet, but
came out all right.
I mean, even I who enjoyed it didn't love it.
Well, even I, who didn't love it and actually said that it was just an overblown action film, thought like, hey, it's fun. If you see it, I'm not going to criticize people.
It's slick. It's pretty. It ain't great, but it's cool.
No, it was cool to look at. I just thought it was dumb. I don't care what anybody says. It just got dumb at the end. But what can I say? It gave people what they wanted to see.
And what makes me happy is that the second place movie was rated R film. And that it did very well.
It's actually the third biggest opening for a rated R movie. First is Matrix Reloaded. The second is 300. So this is the third biggest.
Oh wait, was 300?
Yeah, 300 was second.
And then before then, Scary Movie was one of the reigning supreme.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was number 3, was it? I'm not sure.
For a while it was.
Okay, but I don't know what it beat for number 3, but yeah. So hey, look, fine, whatever. The movie. I know there were some people who were complaining that it wasn't just like the comic because the comic is very different.
Well, yeah.
But that's a small section of people. I mean, this is put out there for the mainstream.
I've talked to a lot of people, even people who didn't like the new one, who said, yeah, but what were you going to do? The comic book was so not a mainstream movie. It was so dark because it wasn't just about villains. It was about really, really bad guys.
No, they were all, in fact, they have villains within the story. Like all of these are super villains. The movie is about super villains. And within all these super villains, you have the super villains you're supposed to root for, and you have the super villains who are very villainous. They are the bad guys. But even then, you have to look back. Even when they're fighting each other, you have to say, they're all bad people. You can't root for anybody. If they kill each other,
politics.
It's kind of like politics or being in gangs or something, or the mob. It's like, so what? The mob is killing each other.
Obama or McCain. Wow, they're both bad guys.
See, I'm not going to get into politics right now. I'm not going to even get into it. But no, whatever.
I wonder who you're voting for.
I'm voting for McCain. See. I'm joking. I'm not voting for McCain.
I know you're joking,
and it's not. I'm like, this is no place to even get. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to even get into it. But
a smart ass comment.
But I tell you what, though, I do see that. What I'm disappointed with is that I do see how they could have made Wanted into a movie. I mean, it's all in the writing. I mean, they could have kept the supervillain aspect, change it around. One of the better movies one of the best movies I've ever seen, and people are going to criticize me for it, is a movie that did a better job than the book, which is Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is not that good of a book. It's a really bad book, as a matter of fact.
But the movie is damn good.
The movie's great. And I read that book thinking, oh, wow, this is going to be a great book, too. And I was like, this is nothing like the movie. And not only that, but it's shitty. So, anyway, number 1.
The number 1 movie.
Yeah, had big surprise, WALL-E. 62 million. You and Cyrus creep me out when you do that. And don't, please, you're scaring me. No.
WALL-E.
I'm not even looking at you right now.
WALL-E.
This is Pixar's second biggest opening, I believe.
Yeah.
Incredibles is still number 1.
Well, yeah, but
actually, no. I think this is third. It's behind Incredibles, Finding Nemo, and then this movie. In fact, it is behind Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo opened up to $70 million.
Glad you got that down now.
It's good for people to know. I'm giving a test at the end of this, so people remember.
So remember what he said the third time, not the first two.
Exactly. And remember what hey, that Jaeger will do that to you, man. Jaeger and a chicken dinner. But Wally,
for dinner?
No, man, I actually had it. What did I have for dinner? Why you asking me? I had turkey for dinner.
I was curious because I had fried chicken for dinner.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where did you go? Popeyes?
Churches.
You eat at Churches?
I went to Churches. I got a Churches right around the corner from my house.
See, how people are really fried chicken and racist. And I know we shouldn't bring that up, but I just want to know how many white people out there eat at Churches? Because first of all, I'm from Waco. In Waco, it's a very polarized society there, and white people do not go to churches for some reason.
Well,
I think because black people are around there, they're scared to go.
First of all, this Churches is in an area with a lot of white people. It's over by where I live. I know you like to joke, but no, I live in a.
No, you live in a nice place, man.
I live in a very white area, but not super white, but
not super white. There's a Churches there.
Yeah, no, exactly. But what's funny is I was actually thinking about this very issue when I went in tonight, because I look up on the wall and there's that big poster. I know what good is, and there's like 3 Mexicans, 2 blacks, an Asian, and 1 little happy white girl over to the side. And it's like there's 1 white person on that poster. I'm in the wrong place.
It was like they got Patty Hearst. They kidnapped her, and she's sitting up there eating chicken. For those of you who don't know, Patty Hearst was a white girl who was kidnapped by a black rebellion group. And this poster makes me think of that. We're going to kidnap this white girl and make her eat chicken. That'll show your daddy.
She seems really happy, though.
But
because you know what?
Chicken.
Churches is good chicken.
Churches is great chicken.
That's the spicy. You get the spicy. Oh, my God, is that good chicken?
No, man, Churches is great chicken. I love Churches. Now, I don't eat a whole lot of fried food. I mainly eat a lot of vegetables these days. I'm a vegetarian 5-6 days a week. But I will break down, and I will either go get the nastiest hamburger I can find, or I will go and get some greasy-ass Churches, man. And that honey biscuit, and woo!
Well, see, the thing is, I cooked my sides at home. I made.
What the hell kind of hippie shit is that? You went and got some Churches chicken and you cooked the sides at home.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
Sure,
you don't do it.
I do it sometimes.
What side did you cook at home?
I cooked up some homemade macaroni and cheese and some mashed potatoes.
They got mashed potatoes, boy, at Churches. You don't have to make it.
Yeah, but Churches does the wrong thing with that. That's what pisses me off. Like Kentucky Fried Chicken has, they do chicken right, apparently. They also do their sides right because they separate the gravy from the mashed taters. Whereas at Churches, they just pour the gravy on top, and it's like that little splash of gravy is supposed to go through that whole big thing of taters.
I can see you driving around town. I'm going to hit Churches right here, then I'm going to go over to Kentucky Fried Chicken, get my mashed potatoes, and then I'm going to go to Boston Market, get my macaroni and cheese.
No, that's why I just made the shit at home. Okay. And here's the
thing. Offend me, sir.
See, the thing is I also do it cheap. See, I'm a big fan of the dark meat. Unlike you.
You know what? I wasn't going to say anything. I just patiently sat here and waited. Here it is.
No, I love me, I love me drumsticks and thighs. So,
no,
so I go and I pay $7. I get the $6.99 10-piece dark. And, bring that home.
See, I can't make fun of you, man, because I don't eat fries, really. I will eat them if they're there, but I really don't get them on my own. And I'm the kind of guy who will come home with my hamburger and chop up a carrot and eat it with my hamburger, so I can't make fun of you too much. How the fuck did we start talking about chicken when we talking about Wally?
Chicken dinner. Wally. So Wally is
I saw Wally at Churches.
Dude, how did we go from Kung Fu Panda to, furries? It's just we go down that road.
I know. This is what we do, people.
So back on Wally.
No, Wally, pretty much universal praise for the movie.
Holy God, is that movie fucking awesome.
No, it is, man. It is. A lot of people got mixed up in my review because I had a joke in there that kind of threw people off with the review.
I was wondering, because I was watching, I'm like, did he really mean matinee? Or because it was, I get the joke, but it kind of screwed up the delivery.
See, I thought that if I put the logo up for my review, it would help. But a lot of people ask me,
no, because what you've done in the past is that's what threw people off. Like just last week with Get Smart. When you gave it a matinee and you brought up the matinee logo and then said, "Oh, quit with your mind tricks, Carlisle," and then
And then I gave it full price, and people thought I get it.
No, then you gave it. Then it went up to rental, which is what you really had. But
and a lot of people thought okay.
So they assumed that the joke was, but you really thought it was a full price movie then.
Yeah, I did.
See,
I did.
And that's where I think you guys are all on crack.
Why? Because you think it's a better than sex movie?
Better than sex movie.
That's because you like to have sex with machines. That's why I thought
that has nothing to do with it. That has nothing at all to do with it, sir. No, I just loved the hell out of that movie. It was so smart and it was so beautiful. It was a movie that I enjoyed watching the credits.
See, you know what? The credits, you're right. I stood in the 2D art and everything. That was, look, Silver Surfer. I'll just keep it on the down low here. I've been doing the call-in stuff secretly because I don't want to interfere with the site, and I want to try it by doing it by myself. And Silver Surfer called up, and he said, "You know what Pixar did? They made that movie for them. The guys who made John Lasseter and his crew, they made that movie for themselves."
Yeah.
And I said, "You know what, man? You're right."
That's why it is the best thing they've ever done.
Now, see,
Disney didn't want them to make that movie.
I know. I've been reading about that for the longest time.
There's a reason why. Once you see it, it's like, oh, wow, this is a complete dissemination and destruction of everything Disney stands for.
Well, also, it's an apocalyptic movie for kids. I mean, it's buried under a good message. It's good for kids to see. It has a cute character, but people died on the planet and everyone's gone.
No, see, that's
a handful of people didn't.
There was no death.
No,
not in that movie.
Not in the
Everybody got
movie.
on the ships.
But you look at the movie.
You're an adult and you think back. Oh wow, there were going to be people who were like, "Fuck that! I'm not getting on the ship. I'm going to stay here on my planet." But that's stuff that adults think. The kids are like, "No, they all got on the ships."
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. No, that's why it works for adults and children because it's deeper for adults because they can think, "Wow, that must have been a grim situation." Kids are just like, "That's a funny ass robot." So. My criticisms of the movie I really couldn't bring out because really there's a whole section to this movie that I think people should go in and find out for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had small problems with that, but I also thought that, wow, that was a really pleasant surprise too because that stuff is actually my favorite stuff in the movie. So I just thought that they were kind of starting to go a little bit long when Wally was doing all of his sight gags. I thought, okay, I get it now. He's lonely, he's funny, he's attracted to this sexy girl robot. It'd be nice if they moved on. Oh man, that robot was hot, nice and sleek, smooth, boy.
I just like the fact that a Mac and PC, got together. Although technically he was a Mac too, because they had the little Mac boot up sound.
Well, Steve Jobs from Apple.
Yeah,
it's over Pixar, so
And I knew when I heard
exactly.
That. I'm like, that's Steve Jobs.
I didn't even want to bring it up. that Wally was supposed to be an old, faded, outdated PC. So I didn't bring that up. But you could just see the sleek design of that Eve robot and oh, that's a MacBook, man, with eyes. So, but
I absolutely adored that movie. It was the thing is I grew up with the movies this movie was based on. Silent Running is a big movie that had a lot of influence here. Things like Logan's Run, THX 1138, Soylent Green.
Oh, all that, yeah.
The early stuff with the Jawas on Star Wars clearly was a big inspiration here. I mean, this was made by a guy who looked at that, who watched Star Wars when he was a kid and was inside the Jawas sandcrawler and said, I want to see a movie about this.
Oh yeah, no, all those
this
references.
Is what I want to see.
That's what Leon said. He's like, it's all those dystopic.
Dystopian. For those of you that don't know, dystopian is a word that means pompous critic. Who wants to sound smart. I would love it if we could have a review about science fiction where we don't use the word dystopian.
Well, that's why I said Leon said it because I wasn't going to even be that.
I was going to use that in my webcam. It's like, for those of you that don't know. But no, it's...
But they even took some elements from some cute movies. I mean, do you remember that movie, Heart Beeps?
Oh yeah, no, I remember Heart
Andy
Beeps.
Kaufman as a robot.
That was so bad.
It's a terrible movie. No, I look forward to it as a kid. When I saw it, even as a kid, I was like, this is kind of boring.
You know what I liked that also reminded me of this? Electric Dreams.
The movie where the computer was trapped the guy in his home and...
Well, yeah, because the computer... Well, that's what... The computer fell in love with the next door neighbor that... The computer's owner also fell in love with. The computer was
and they were
artificially intelligent.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I love about that movie is the ending, dude. The ending was just phenomenal.
I don't remember it, but hey, people...
The computer commits suicide.
Oh, okay.
He sends out a super heavy pulse of electricity that goes around the world, building up energy until it comes back and fries him because he realizes he can never be with the girl.
There are people out there like, damn it, why'd you ruin the ending for me?
because it's been out for 24, 25 years.
But the new generation need to discover that on their own. There you go.
I'm not going to recommend this movie because it wasn't that good a movie.
No, it wasn't. I saw it on HBO. It was really not that good of a movie. Very 80s.
It reminded me of that, and I like certain elements of it. You are fondling these DVDs over here. Like
I'm just, man, I don't know. I just see DVDs and I got to fondle
like
something.
A guy, you know, looking at porn on the internet, just occasionally stroking his sack.
Do that all the time, man.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're pretty much done talking about Wall-E.
Yeah,
Wall-E was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
a great
better
movie.
than Sex. I think it's a fantastic film. I think Corey's a total dipstick for not calling me up and asking me to come to the review.
See, there you go. We talked about that before. Well, that was a miscommunication thing right there. Didn't try to keep you out of it.
Well, and now you've been able to say that it was a miscommunication, and that's why I wasn't here. And
you sons of bitches out there. So
you're holding one of those films that actually Wall-E reminded me of.
Let me go ahead and get into this right now real quick because some of the feedback I've been getting on this, everybody loves these, by the way. I never thought that a cold ones would have took off like it did. And I appreciate all the people that love it. And thank you for being dedicated to this. And I'm talking about you, by the way, coming here every week and doing this. But one of the things that people told us was they said one of the things that we really like about it is that you recommend something that we'd never heard of before. You always mention something, talk about something. It's not even movie related. You always just mention some kind of topic that makes us want to go and look it up or find out on our own. But then you also mention movies a lot that we've never even heard of, that makes us want to go out and research that. And then we watch it and we're like, wow, this is a great discovery. So when the need comes, I'm not going to do this every week, but when I find something I want to talk about, or if I think it's going to be helpful, I'm going to pick out a couple of movies, one for the younger people out there and one for some of the older people, and tell you about it.
Well, okay.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, let's link this because there's a movie that I mentioned that I think you folks out there should check out. If you dug Wall-E, if you saw this and you're listening to us talk about, the old 70s eco sci-fi, which is really cool. There's a lot of really good stuff out there, but the ones I mentioned, if you haven't seen Logan's Run, you got to check out Logan's Run, of course, and THX 1138, which is George Lucas's first feature film. I don't recommend Soylent Green because it's a cheesy movie. I love it, but you probably know the ending, and the ending's been spoiled, and the whole movie's about the ending. It's all about this cop investigating this thing, and it's what is Soylent Green? And odds are you've heard that. And don't say it, Corey. Just in case, because
I'm looking at you.
If you decide you want to see it, if you're like, oh, I don't know what Soylent Green's about, go see it. Don't tell anyone on the planet that you're going to see this, and don't. When you get up to the front, if the person up front so much as looks at the disc you're getting, just look at him and say, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know it. Don't say anything. I've been told by a good friend of mine, you can call me your good friend, not to have anybody say a word about this movie because they will shout out the line, the classic line for this movie.
Oh, yeah, and that gives all away.
That will give away the whole fucking movie and ruin it for you. I knew about the ending of this movie 10 years before I saw it, and they even did an SNL skit about it, which is brilliant.
I never saw that SNL sketch, but yeah, you're right.
I'll tell you about it after, But so you might want to check that out. But the movie I want to really strongly mention is a great old film from the early 70s called Silent Running.
Is that the one with the robots in space and they're trying to plant the trees?
It's Bruce Dern.
That's right.
He's on a spaceship that has some of the last plants left from planet Earth. And they're out orbiting in space, and they get the order to scuttle the cargo and come back to Earth. And he is so dedicated to keeping these trees and these plants alive that he loses his mind. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening ends up involving him being off alone and reprogramming these robots and living on the ship with these robots.
And these robots are pretty much programmed to be his companions now, his friends.
And
play chess.
Fantastic, cool old sci-fi film that I highly recommend. The robots are awesome. The robots were clearly some of the inspiration, that we later saw in Star Wars and then in several films after that.
No, they were. They're little boxes with two legs underneath them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're very cheesy looking by today's standards, but back then it was pretty cool. And like Wall-E, I think there's probably a big influence on Wall-E because these robots are programmed to also take care of the plants.
Yes.
If Bruce Dern dies, they must continue to take care of the plants.
And it's a fantastic little film, and it's something that if you're into science fiction and you have not seen this movie, it is very influential on Wall-E and many of the other science fiction films that followed. It was the first big ecological science fiction
Yeah.
film that really made its point and did a great job with it.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie. And a lot of you kids out there, if you see this, it's a very slow movie. But it's about a guy in space kind of losing it and being lonely, and you have to really kind of be patient with it.
Now, one of the other things this film reminded me of was this great classic animated film that you have over there.
Well, I was going to talk about that.
I mentioned this in one of my written reviews. I compared WALL-E to this film,
Well,
which is why when I saw this over there, I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. So what film is this?
Well, the reason why this came about is there was a guy who was asking me about some movies that he should see. He saw Rec when I recommended it, and he said, I'm into science fiction and horror. You got the horror part down with Rec, and I really want to know if you have any. Oh, you're asking for the opener right there. He said, I really want to know what other movies you could recommend, especially science fiction. This, I just kind of pulled out because I said, this is a very old movie. It's a cult movie, too, and it's a French film. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Fantastic Planet. And what's so cool about this movie, not only is the animation style very unique and almost kind of creepy in a way, but it has a very hand-drawn style to it, but it's also the story. Pretty much, now, I haven't watched this in about a year and a half, but it's about aliens who take in humans and use them as pets, and they rebel against the aliens that hold them captive. And it's interesting to see that dynamic played out in this movie. How do you relate this to WALL-E?
It is, when you talk to people who know about animation and people who are big animation buffs, this is considered those top 5 best animated films ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is one of those things that universally gets brought up. And that's where I think WALL-E is. WALL-E really kind of redefined what you can do with animation, what you can do with a character, and took it back to its most simple.
Well, this movie here, it's from I think it's from 1973.
It's pretty old.
Yeah, it's very old. It's directed by somebody named René Laloux, I believe, and I haven't really seen. I think he did one more film, or the makers of this movie did one more film, and I believe it was called Light Years here in America. Not a very good movie.
Light Years,
no, not a very good movie. So if you see that, it's not that great. As a matter of fact, they got Penn and Teller to do voices in this movie, and I don't even understand that, because if you know who Penn and Teller is, Teller doesn't even talk. So this movie here, though, is a classic. I happened to see this late night on a show called Night Flight that used to show cool stuff like this.
Night Flight introduced a lot of us to some great stuff. For those of you that don't know, Night Flight was the late night show on the USA Network when some of us were kids. And it was on USA up all night. And
back when USA actually had some cool shit on there. Now they just show. Well, they have some cool series
they've
now.
got shit, but it's completely different than what
it is. It's not very loose as it was back then.
Yeah,
so.
and Night Flight was just this cool ass thing. In fact, I've seen if you YouTube a bunch of like old skits or just old cool weirdness, a lot of times you'll see the Night Flight logo right at the beginning of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because people recorded it off of Night Flight.
Night Flight used to show, I learned a lot about underground animation such as this.
That's how we all discovered Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
No, I actually knew about that from going to the video store, and I was like, what the fuck is this? But
I saw it on.
But this here, man, I mean, this Night Flight showed a lot of cool stuff. They showed Looney Tunes shorts that were not really shown anymore. A lot of them that were aimed more towards adults that had actual cursing in them. They showed a lot of good movies that you probably didn't get to see too much. Underground films, some early Trauma stuff too. Maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, Night Flight was cool. And they showed Fantastic Planet. Saw it. This DVD has a lot of interesting stuff on here. So if you get a chance to get it, I mean, they have some shorts on here from this director that I saw. So it's a good thing to watch. So if you like science fiction, you like animation, this is a great combination here, and I highly recommend you watch that. The other movie that I have here that's for older stuff. What's that?
Following up on that, 2 years ago at Fantastic Fest, Darren Aronofsky came and he brought his film, The Fountain.
The Fountain, yeah.
And Tim League asked him if he would host a screening of one of his other films. And he said, well, I really don't want to show Pi or Requiem for a Dream. I mean, the people who are going to come and see The Fountain have probably already seen those, and I've shown those a lot. Can I show something that I've never been able to host before. And they're like, absolutely. Here's a list of all the things we have on 35. And he saw Fantastic Planet on there and said, holy crap, this is one of the films I was watching to get in the mindset to write and make The Fountain. I have to show this. So when he came to Austin and he hosted a screening, he hosted Fantastic Planet.
That's great, man. It's one of my absolutely favorite movies ever. I love it.
It's a cool flick.
Yeah, no, it's...
Now, what's this other thing? I can't see the title.
It's Black Samson.
My, you did not pull out Black. Here's one of the things you guys need to know about Uncle Corey. Uncle Corey likes to talk about, how much he, how he gets kind of snobbish sometimes when it comes to modern film. When it comes to films of the 70s, the crappier, the better. He loves some dog shit.
Oh, yeah. No.
And Black Samson is no exception.
This is for the older crowd here because it is a 70s movie and it's also a blaxploitation movie. Now, I hesitate. With me, blaxploitation, it's a term that is crazy to me because you have these movies that were made by white directors and studios that actually brought in black people and used them for the talent, and a lot of people didn't really get too much out of that.
Well, that's why it's called blaxploitation.
Exactly, but then you got some movies that are called blaxploitation that were made by black people and actually put out there, and that's not so much exploitation; it's just people trying to get their action heroes out there.
Where the term comes from, it's blaxploitation was the third coined term for it because there was. Sexploitation was the first term that was coined.
Well, no, I get it. I don't want to get
it. Was the whole idea was we're selling it because we're selling the black hero to a black audience, and they were exploiting the audience to come out and see what most of the time were pretty crappy.
No, they were all shitty movies. I mean, but then you had some. What? No. I mean, there was some. All of them were like kind of. They didn't have the best budgets, is what I'm saying. But this movie. Now I'm not sure. I'm not going to even say because I think this movie. I don't know if it was made by a black director or not.
Is his last name Jones or Williams?
You know something? I don't have it on here. I'll tell you because this movie is a hard find, man. You can find it, but it's hard to find. And Black Samson, and the reason why I recommend this for older people is because, like I said, it's from the 70s, and it's just. I don't know if younger people would be into it, but a lot of the people who were into some of these movies, such as Dolomite and Black Caesar and those kind of films, will probably be into seeing this movie. And it's just you have this guy Black Samson. And he's a club owner. And that's what a lot of these movies were. They owned clubs and they were fighting the white clubs down the street who tried to come in heavy on them. So Black Samson is this big dude. In fact, he's so badass, he has a lion in his bar. So like a live lion on the table next to the strippers.
And every time he goes into his bedroom, there's a half naked black woman lying there.
There's always, well, he has his main girl. So he's not one of those guys that has all kind of naked women around.
He's not like Shaft.
No, he's not like Shaft. Even though all the women want him, they don't all get with him. He's got his main squeeze. But of course, across town, the mafia wants to come in. They send
we are white people and we must crush the black man.
Exactly. So Black Samson has to protect his club against the main heavy, who's a henchman for a mob boss. But as a white dude comes in, he brings his crew in, and it pretty much ends up with a whole city block of black people going insane. Imagine that trash can scene and Do the Right Thing, where all the black people tore up the pizzeria. Now imagine like a city block like that, where people are throwing refrigerators and toasters off of top of buildings.
You mean like the LA riots?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, except they're everywhere. They capture the movie climaxes with these mob people trapped in the middle of the street on this block, while every building on the street is occupied by black people. It's like those two old guys in the Muppets that sit on the balcony and hang over there and like yell stuff. Imagine those black Muppets hanging out the window of every building and throwing shit down. And that's what it's like. It's so insane. And when I saw this movie, I was like, wow. I was kind of bored at first, but the resolution in this is so crazy that I had to see it. And I recommend it just for comedy's sake almost. But yeah, Black Samson.
Is it better than Dragon?
Are you talking about that Bruce Lee movie?
No.
The Last Dragon?
No. Dragon starring Jim Jones.
Black Belt Jones?
Well, who played Black Belt Jones? Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Oh, man. You know what? I can't remember. It's not Jones, though.
No, it's not.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Black Belt Jones, Jim Kelly. Yeah, but he's in Dragon. D period. R period. A period. G period. O period. N period. Dragon.
Damn, I never even heard of it.
Oh, it's a crazy old blaxploitation action film from the 70s.
I'm getting it.
It's like got the greatest trailer known to man. It's Jim Kelly being badass all throughout.
I'm going to watch that.
You know what? You're going to watch it, and you're probably going to recommending it, whether it's any good or not.
No, that's what a lot of these movies are like. I probably would recommend a lot of these old black films because they just so, not because a lot of people are going to think, oh, he's recommending this because he's black and he likes black movies. No, a lot of these black movies are terrible, but they're so bad they're funny.
Like terrible movies. Like you'll recommend Worms.
Oh, man, that's the thing. I like really bad movies, and Worms will be recommended one day. And it's not called Worms, it's called Squirm. A movie about killer worms, people. Can you imagine that? Back in the 70s,
he loves it.
They tried to make killer animal movies out of anything.
Yeah, well, that's because, I just went and saw The Birds the other day. And this is funny that this came up. I went and saw we've got the summer film series here at the Paramount downtown. And it's cool because they show double features. And sometimes they're double features that really go together. And sometimes they're just brilliantly put together. Like next week they're showing, The Exorcist back to back with Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, nice.
And if you go to the matinee, they're showing Mary Poppins. But I went and saw Psycho back to back with the Birds. And man, The Birds does not hold up. Oh my God. It was one of those things. I'm watching it. People have asked me repeatedly what I think about that. And I keep meaning to write a blog post about what I think about remakes. Because I've really come 180 on the whole remakes thing. But I watched this movie and I'm like, no wonder they're remaking this. The audience was laughing all throughout the film.
Okay.
Tense moments.
I would tell you something. The Birds does hold up, but it has some very, very, very good scenes in there. Like, it's probably as much as the people laughing. There's some scary scenes with birds in there.
There's some good stuff in there, but the problem is coupled with the scenes that are just funny, coupled with the fact that there isn't a woman in that film who is halfway useful. They are the most useless women ever put to film.
Oh no, it's a product of its time. It's like a lot of stuff.
But the thing is it's dated. I mean, it's dated. You cannot sit down and watch that movie beginning to end and think, "Wow, what a brilliant film." You have to think, "Oh, that was brilliant for its time."
Well, I
totally see why they're updating that film.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I have argued with people because I'm against the whole remaking stuff because we have nothing better to do. But I have gotten to arguments with people about this very thing, The Birds, because I said. People argue with me because it's Hitchcock, and they're just all stuck on, if it's Hitchcock, you don't touch it. And I'm like, listen, Psycho was kind of a useless remake. I'm not even upset about that.
The remake of Psycho was useless only because they didn't do anything new.
No, exactly. I mean, the only thing they did was put it in color, and they showed Vince Vaughn jerking off a little bit.
That was the only changes to the film.
But Hitchcock, what?
Although, having just sat down and watched Psycho again, there are two performances that I prefer in the remake. I was like, wow, I really do miss William H. Macy and Viggo Mortensen.
Well, I mean,
roles, the movie really did. I mean, everything else was useless, but seeing those two guys, I was like, you know what? It was totally worth seeing that remake just to see Viggo Mortensen and William H. Macy.
Well, yeah,
knock these roles out of the.
I mean, you go to these movies and you accept them for being a product of their time. You got to know that. I mean, a classic movie is not going to always hold up because times change. If you put it in its context, yeah. But Hitchcock himself had said, I want to use different kind of birds in this. I wanted to use owls. I wanted to use eagles. I wanted to use all kind of stuff, but he couldn't do it. There was just no way to do it at the time.
No, there wasn't.
And so I think, that would actually be interesting to see this be remade like that. I'm just afraid that they're just going to do something really bad with it, and they're not going to concentrate on the story of the characters.
Well, the Platinum Dunes is they've focused on the story and characters. They haven't made a single remake that, really blew everybody away. A lot of people like the Chainsaw remake. I like Chainsaw the Beginning quite a bit. I enjoyed the hell
didn't see that, but I thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not that great, but
I'm saying a lot of people liked it. The remake.
Yeah, no, I know.
But they still haven't made that perfect remake that makes us go, yeah, you guys really should be doing this. I've enjoyed watching most of their remakes, but the big litmus test is going to be this and Friday the 13th. The one I'm actually looking forward to is Friday the 13th.
See, I could care less about Friday the 13th, but The Birds, I think, is something that I am looking forward to just because it's something that will actually do something new. I don't know what they're going to do with Friday the 13th. I mean, what can you do with Friday the 13th?
Stabilize a real mythology, because the problem with Friday the 13th is, first of all, they're not good. I'm an old school slasher horror fan, and even I have to kind of step away from the Friday the 13th and go, yeah, they're pretty much crap. There's some good ones in there. I'm a big fan of 7. 7's cool, and 3 is interesting. But
three was in 3D, yeah, because that was why it was
that was
cool.
the one time where they really got a great story going. They're like, okay, Paramount was fuck this. We want nothing more to do with this movie. We're going to kill him off, and it'll be done with. Because the executives at Paramount hated it. They kept making them because they had to, because they were so financially successful. They had to churn out new ones, but the audiences wouldn't stop going to see them no matter how bad they were. And they were just like, look, this is making us look silly. So they dumped it off, and so the series got restarted. There was one good one out of there, and then the rest were bad. But the mythology changed every movie until you get to the end of 9, and it's like, wait, so the evil in Jason is really this little supernatural alien thing from hell that gets into people and takes over them.
Well, don't forget that they made 10, which was Jason in space.
Now I liked that.
I did too. I liked that one too.
But it was getting back to the old mythology and just saying, "Fuck it, these movies were never serious, so let's make a space comedy out of it." And that's what they did.
Yeah,
and that was fun, and I enjoyed the Freddy versus Jason, But the mythology was never solid. It never gelled. And I think this is their chance to actually – I've argued this for a long time. The creatures we got in the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s, Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason Voorhees, Pinhead, these creatures have become our universal monsters. They're our Frankenstein, our Dracula, our Mummy that, older generations grew up with. I am ready to see them reinvented by new filmmakers and taken to another level. I really enjoyed Rob Zombie's Halloween remake because he did something different with it and made a completely different film than any of the others did.
I didn't hate it, but I thought pointless, man. Do we really that the first Halloween was so effective? Do we really need to know about Michael Myers being a kid? I mean, we don't need to see him be a child, be a killer, go around killing people. They just ruined the mystique of Michael Myers by doing that.
Not at all, because the point of that was that it was a remake. It was not a sequel. The sequels fucked the hell out of Michael Myers. I mean, if you want to talk about the mythology of Michael Myers, where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line at the second film, which was good but not great?
Well,
you draw the line at the fourth and fifth films where it really got crazy? Or when Dimension took over in 6 and made him a genetic clone? Or 7?
No, of course. No, all these, that's what I'm saying. All these get silly, and I don't know what they're going to do with a Friday the 13th remake. I mean, they did it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it meant nothing. It's a slasher movie.
They didn't ruin the mystique of Michael Myers because it's a different story of Michael Myers. I consider these all to be...
No, I didn't say...
These are like when you sit around the campfire with your buddies and they tell the Hook story. Now, we all know the Hook story, but if you were to tell the Hook story to somebody else sitting next to you, they would have heard a different version. Yeah. This is just a different version.
Well, I'll tell you what, instead of being a different version, it was a remake. And then I saw it and I was like, you know what? That first movie was so much more effective because they told me too much in this remake here. The reason why the first one worked is because really, when you get too much information about Michael Myers, it becomes silly. And that's what I felt about this Michael Myers in the movie. This little kid grew up to be this big, huge monster. I kind of know what he looks like because they showed him in shadow a little bit. It was very creepy not knowing anything about that first Michael Myers. And that's what I think they're going to do with this Friday the 13th remake. They're going to probably give you too much information, and they're going to ruin all the mystery that makes you think on your own and makes you afraid. So
I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see how they do with it.
But the birds, though, man, they got the technology to do all those birds. Like, imagine a world being attacked by every bird.
And there's several aspects to the classic birds that they can do away with at this point. I mean, really, when you watch the birds, the first half of the movie has nothing to do with birds at all.
Well, that's what was so
love story.
No, that's what was so cool about the movie. I mean, everybody likes to use that term MacGuffin. For all you kids out there, MacGuffin for a Hitchcock movie means that the movie starts out one way and it ends up being something else. And you're going to hear all these.
That's not what MacGuffin means.
No, the MacGuffin of the movie. Yeah, it is.
No, the MacGuffin is whatever is driving the movie. Like the MacGuffin is. The MacGuffin is this object that everybody's after. It's something that is not integral to the plot, but it's integral in driving the story.
The way I learned it is MacGuffin, and look, I'm telling you some film school shit that when I went to college is what they told us, and a lot of film geeks like to bring this up to make themselves sound smart. So if your friends ever use MacGuffin, look at them and slap them in the fucking face because they're just doing it to sound smart.
Dystopian or MacGuffin.
But the way I learned it was MacGuffin is the thing that comes into the movie that was not what it was about before. It's a thing that you didn't expect to come up, and it throws you off. And this is the real story that we're following. So that's the way I learned.
Yeah, but it's actually like a MacGuffin is a thing. Like the MacGuffin of the first act of The Birds is delivering these two lovebirds to this guy. I mean, that's the MacGuffin. The MacGuffin's all about the delivery.
See, we're kind of like splitting hairs here because...
now, hold on. The thing is there's actually what's interesting is if you go ahead and Google it or you wiki it, there's actually a lot of argument as to different people consider MacGuffin different thing, and there's two different camps on how MacGuffin is. But there's always arguments over it.
Yeah, I
but
mean...
the point is,
it was purposely done to be one thing at the beginning, and then it was changed to do something else. That was intentional.
The other aspect that I think they can take out is some of the things that they needed to explain at the time, because no one had ever really seen a pissed off nature movie. And now we've seen pissed off nature movies. So now we don't have to have that 10-minute existential argument in the diner in the middle where you've got the biblical guy quoting scripture and all the people debating why birds would attack.
No, I want to. That's why I think I'm afraid of this too, because they never explained it in the birds. I want birds attacking. There's no explanation. I want Sonny the cuckoo bird to come to the door with a knife and kill somebody.
I honestly believe that will probably be part of this movie. That because the people at Platinum Dunes, they've always gotten what make those originals tick. And now that might be a crutch to this. Those of us who are movie literate and know the birds know that they never explained it and they shouldn't explain it. But there's going to be people who walk out of this, if they do make it this way, who say, oh, that movie was stupid. They didn't even say where the birds were attacking.
No, hey, man, sometimes it's best when you just don't know. Like Cloverfield, they didn't explain too much. But anyway... enough about all that. I mean, they're going to make it. We'll see what happens. But
what the fuck is up with that goddamn car?
Man, I don't know. But do you people hear this? I want to go out there and set that shit on fire. I just want to destroy this car. I don't know what it is. In fact,
somebody's car is going off, car alarm, and we're like sitting here listening to it. And we're trying to play cool.
Yeah, and we're sitting up here like,
it's fucking.
It's like the elephant in the room. We're just acting like it's not there and shit. But
so the verse is about the motherfucker.
Big news this week. There's a lot of shit that happened, but the big news to me was Vern Troyer was in a sex tape.
Really? That was the big news?
That was the big news for Little Man.
It was George Carlin.
Well, oh yeah.
Let's talk about Vern Troyer for a second.
Well, but I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's just that Vern Troyer, the midget from Mini-Me, was in a sex tape and they stopped it.
Here's what blows my mind. Not any of that aspect of the story. Here's my problem with the story. The guy was dating a 20-something model, a 24-year-old model.
See, it just goes to show you, if you're famous, you can get laid no matter what.
But here's what blows my mind. They are no longer together, and she's bitter. She's real bitter.
Well, because he dumped her?
I don't know why she's bitter, but she's bitter. She's the one that released the sex tape.
Oh, that bitch.
And she went on the talk shows insulting his manhood. Now...
Well, he's Mini-Me. How big can he be?
Well, now there's a whole thing about midgets not being midgets in certain areas. Here's my problem with this. This is what clogs up my mind. It makes me want to bash my head into the monitor repeatedly. What kind of dumbass, fucking retard of a woman thinks that she'll look good going on a fucking talk show and saying not only did you repeatedly fuck the shit out of a famous midget, but he wasn't even any good in bed when you did it. What does that make you look like? It doesn't even make you look like a gold digger. It makes you look like a discount gold digger because you couldn't even hook up with a tall fucking celebrity. You had to fuck the smallest thing you could find. There are sex toys on the market larger than Vern Troyer, and you had to go and not only, I mean...
It's fun. I mean, this is a woman who's strictly thinking in dollars. She's like, fuck it. Yeah, I'll fuck the midget. I'll bite the bullet. I'm going to cash this shit in. And now the tape has got halted by a judge. And check it out, man. Okay, this whole thing is about a sex tape. And I'm thinking, now this midget's, let's
call him Vern. He's Vern Troyer. Everybody knows who he is. He's
everybody knows Vern Troyer. I'm going to call him Mini-Me. Mini-Me has an attorney named Tracy Rain. I'm like, is his fucking lawyer a porno star too? I mean, what the fuck is going on with this case? But no, man, look, if I was him, I'd be happy to have this story out there. I'd put a halt on it, but I'd like for people to know, I'm fucking 2 feet tall. Look what I'm fucking right here. So good for him, man. Shit, either way it happens, and you don't have to worry about it because if anybody's like me, you don't want to see that sex tape either. I don't want to see no fucking midget fucking somebody. Shit, I mean,
there are people that do, but it's.
Yeah,
what boggles my mind is not that there's a sex tape and not that what the legal hoops they've gone through to stop it. It's just that woman thought there was something to benefit in her life for being known as the woman who fucked a famous midget.
Man, a woman doesn't care. If she thinks she can get paid, she could be fucking a goat. If the goat got money, she gonna try to get paid. So it don't even matter. Now, before we get into email, I just want to bring up real quick, Dark Knight getting great reviews.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to stick to what I said earlier. I know you and I kind of differed on this, but I think that's poised to probably be the biggest movie this summer.
We'll see. I'm curious. It's one of those things that it's got its fan base. It's going to be big. It's going to be a huge hit.
No, definitely. I think it's going to be big.
I don't know if it's going to be the biggest movie of the summer.
Well, as we know, we never know ahead of time, but I'm going to bet on it being the biggest movie this summer.
We thought that about Batman Begins, and Batman Begins barely squeaked by with $200 million.
I never said it was going to be the biggest movie of that summer.
I didn't say you, but there was a lot of people who thought that, and just the Batman fans, they came out, and I honestly think it's going to be top 5, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest movie this summer.
Okay.
I think it's got a lot of competition. We've still got Hancock coming out, which is going to do real fucking well. We've got, Iron Man just crossed 300 million this weekend. We didn't even mention that in the top 5, but that was one of the big stories. It crossed 300 million. It is the highest grossing movie of the summer.
Oh yeah, no, and it's hard to tell. I mean, you never know, and I'm not saying for certain. I just think that so many people. It's a sequel. Heath Ledger's death in there. This is a property that's very popular. I think this is going to be huge. I think it really is going to pass 300 million.
Here's where the real problem is. In order to get Iron Man numbers, you've got to get a lot of repeat business. Now, they've announced that they have ended the movie with a downer of a note, this in memoriam of Heath Ledger, and I forget the name of the stuntman who died making the movie. But there's an in memoriam at the end, which is what I was afraid of. And I'm terrified of just seeing the movie and thinking, wow, it's really good. And then not being that kind of movie to bring people
no
back
one's
to
even
see
said that. Everyone that's seen it has says every time Heath Ledger's on the screen, it's mesmerizing.
No, absolutely. The reviews have been very positive. I'm very excited about the film. I can't wait.
A lot of people are saying that this could not only is just a great superhero movie, but people are saying, you know what, you're going to think I'm crazy, but it's one of the best movies of the year. Now, I'm not buying into the hype until I see it. But
what I'm going to say out on the outset right now, if I had to bet right now, I would put money down that Heath Ledger takes best Oscar for best actor next year. For this film posthumously.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are saying that. I would not
doubt it at all. People are talking about, wow, they see an Oscar nod. Warner Brothers, months ago, when they had seen the completed film, they were gearing up trying to figure out an Oscar campaign just before Heath Ledger died, and it's going to happen. Odds are he's going to get it.
And the Oscars would be benefiting from that too. It makes a great story.
I would love it if this were the best movie, or if this was the highest grossing film of the summer. I love it when darker, more adult films really benefit, but I'm cautious. I don't see that happening. I think you guys are caught up because you and one of the other guys from the site, one of our shadowy masters, think this. And I think this comes mostly from the hype of our readership as opposed to, there's hype out there, but it's not the level of excitement.
Well, it's doing everything that is exceeding everything that I thought it would do. When I was thinking about this movie before, I was like, man, this movie's going to sell a lot ahead of time. I didn't think 3 weeks ahead of time, but the movie's already making a lot of sales 3 weeks ahead of time. A lot of people are coming out and they're giving these really, really just and very enthusiastic early reviews. So like I said, you never know. I might even see the movie and say, I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. This is pure bullshit. But who knows?
Now I'm really excited because we just found out that we've got 2 different screenings of Batman. So
go to the one on Monday because that's at the IMAX.
They both are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. The big question is, will we love it enough to go and see it again on Tuesday?
Oh, man.
That's what I'm wondering.
I really don't have time to see shit twice these days, but it might be one of those movies.
Good.
Yeah, if it's one of those movies and I have time, I definitely will, but we'll be busy trying to get that review out. As a matter of fact, I'm employing Leon ahead of time to start doing stuff for this. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into one email before we get out of here.
Answer an email so I can go home.
Let's see. All right. This is from Tyler, and Tyler says, "Dear Corey, I was randomly talking to one of my state representatives. What the hell are you doing? Us talking to your state representative? Who are you? Anyway, who is working with longtime friend Cloris Leachman and other people in the industry to increase filming efforts in Georgia. This would include studios and education opportunities. Something the state rep mentioned, however, was that he believed that film, and he puts film in quotes, was going out and CG was replacing it. Now, bear with me here. Okay. And he said, this is his words. He gave let me see what this is. He gave a factoid stating that the most famous Japanese actress is actually a hot blonde CG woman. This scares the heck out of me. Is CG truly going to replace film? And is the film industry still a place to look for a job if you're not into CG? And that's from Tyler. Tyler, I sent you an email back, but let me just say this. Film is an industry. CG is a tool. So I would just say real quick, your state rep is full of shit and doesn't know what he's talking about. So
I think it's very important to note that this guy is in politics and not where the money is.
He's probably old. And look, if this is the guy that's helping to bring in film into Georgia, Georgia's fucked because he don't know what the hell he's talking about.
The real problem there is that CG is a tool, but CG is a very expensive tool. And it is one that it's, sometimes it's just going to be cheaper to make it on film than it is. The reason why there are so few CG movies out every year, they take way too long to make. And they cost way too much money. So you have to make them slowly. Otherwise, Pixar would have a movie out every 3 months if they could.
Yeah, well,
but they can't.
Basically, your state rep just doesn't know what he's talking about, though, because you're saying CG is going to replace film, like you're going to replace the grips, you're going to replace the assistant directors, you're going to replace the set designers, the costume designers. That's crazy. Okay.
Now, the other thing is that odds are this guy is opposed to the measure. And by opposing the measures that they're trying to work on, this is his argument to say why they shouldn't try to bring business.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, though. As the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. CG, some people say, they hear this term CG and how it's taking over stuff, and then they think, oh, CG is taking over movies, like robots are coming in and taking jobs. No, look, your state representative doesn't understand that CG, okay, it will probably put maybe some stunt people out of work. It might put some people who are special effects people out of work because CG can come in and place a guy falling off of a building. Stuntman's out of a job. Boom. CG can come in and make creature effects where before you had somebody who did it out of latex. Boom. You don't get as much work. If you're talking about CG is replacing the whole industry of film, like they're just replacing Hollywood with CG, that doesn't make any sense.
And even then, it's not going to always do that because you know what? It's going to take several months and a couple $1 million to get that guy to fall off of a building when it takes, giving Bob $5,000 to jump off into an inflata mattress off the side of the building.
Yeah, no, it's CG is very expensive, but yeah, what you should do is tell him what I said. Say, what the fuck are you talking about? CG is a tool that people do on computers for very small things such as, well, not small, but for special effects and maybe stunt work. When you're talking about film, what do you mean? You tell him Corey said that. Tell him come talk to me. In fact, give me a ticket. I'll come out there and talk to him, slap him in his fucking face. Tell him, you know what the hell you're talking about. You about to destroy Georgia. So anyway, anything else on there?
Because Georgia is all right. Let's not make too many Georgia jokes. They don't need them.
I didn't want to go there, but I'll take it.
Riding on the short bus. You don't need to make fun of them. They're already pretty fucked.
There's some guy there with 5 teeth talking. It's all going to be replaced by CG.
Yeah, now all of our good friends in Atlanta are going to be. Excuse me.
No, Atlanta's a very huge city, so I'm not even making fun of Georgia. In fact, I think Adult Swim is located in Georgia. So yeah, you guys got it going on. Whatever. I heard that's Chocolate City anyway. So
chocolate.
That in Washington.
Why does it have to be chocolate?
I don't know, man. A lot of black people there is what I'm thinking. Or they like to eat a lot of chocolate there. You take your pick. I don't know. So anyway, Willy Wonka lives there. So anyway, that's it for tonight. And I have nothing else. So if you don't, we can say goodnight.
Yeah, let's turn on this AC and good night, everybody.
Goodbye. God damn it. Get out of here. Where's the button? I'm still looking for it. Where are you? Okay, there we are.